Hello, everyone. Today is September 7, 2018. I am Caleb.
And I am Anthony.
And we are
The Rivals.
And it has been a long time since we did this. That's, December, November last year?
Yeah. Our lives have changed since then.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, this is the first time I see you since I left on my little adventure.
We caught each other at the airport.
We
Me
did.
going one
This
way,
is
you
true.
coming the other way.
Yeah, I was coming home. You were going to Europe. That was nice.
It was a nice meeting. I enjoyed that. The
Yeah.
hug, the talk for 1 minute. I was a little upset at my airline.
Yeah.
You were upset at your airline.
Yeah, we both got delayed.
Yes.
I missed my connecting flight because we were stuck on the runway. You know what they always say? There's weather at our destination. Yeah, there's always weather at the destination. What do you think? It's just we sat in the runway for 20 minutes. I had 20 minutes between flights, and of course I missed my flight. It's pulling away as I get to the gate, and the guy's like, "I'm sorry, you just missed them."
So they gave me a really creative answer. I also missed my connecting flight, and guess what? There was weather at my destination.
Yeah, you think?
And because they give you weather, they don't need to give you the refund. Fun fact, they don't need to give you anything if it's a weather issue. If it's a plain mechanical issue, yep, but nope. If it's weather.
Yeah, and my wife tried to visit me when I was in Virginia and out processing, and there was weather. But there wasn't because
You were there.
I was
Yeah.
there, and it was sunny.
Mhm.
There might have been weather in between. Oh no, there's weather. Oh my goodness. But anyway,
We're back.
we are back. We missed the World Cup. We didn't get to talk about that. It was it happened. There's no point in going back and talking about
Did it happen? I don't know.
I don't know. Did it?
For me, it didn't. It was there. It was a thing.
Have you heard about the UEFA Nations League?
I did, yeah.
It's silly.
Well, they're also doing the CONCACAF Nations League as well. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yep,
Is it really?
it is.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. So it's going to be very similar to a table structure. I think there's going to be an A, B, and a C league. The top 6 teams who were in qualifying last year start in the top. It's points, and then you get relegated and promoted.
I'm all for that because you know why? I've always said that Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, the U.S., they always come into the qualifying or whatever way late into the process. And I don't think that's fair because I think they should mix everyone up. Just because, okay, that doesn't matter. We can play the Bahamas or something in the first game. But at least it gives the Bahamas a chance to beat us, knock us out. Like, I'm not trying to bring up old wounds or anything, but obviously we can get beat by smaller teams. So
Sometimes.
I think it's more fair for the smaller teams if we jump in at the beginning. I've always thought CONCACAF was dumb.
Yeah, well, I mean, so they're doing the Nations League. The top 6 teams are going to be Mexico, United States, Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, and then Jamaica, actually.
Yeah, because that was the hex.
Yep,
that was the last hex. That makes sense.
So those are going to be the teams that are actually in the top 6, I believe. And that's the A League or League A. And then from there on, they're going to do qualifying to set out B and C. And then from that, I like it personally because it's there's not as many friendlies, right? Friendlies, you always come in and, like, if the USA comes out and beats Germany, they're like, okay, well, that was a friendly. But then if the USA gets stomped by Germany, it's like, well, it was a friendly and they're just not good. And so, like, it's a lose-lose either way. But if these games have some meaning, which they will for a table, then when the USA plays Aruba or Dominica and they lose, it's like, well, the points are on the line there. They should have won that game, or vice versa. So, I mean, it makes these games... Now, I think the problem is we might end up playing more games against just our confederation now, which might not be as good.
But
they have meeting at least.
Yeah, well, but that's also a problem because the players are never going to get rest. A and B, it's going to be less chance for youth and fringe players to get in.
I think you still expect the U.S., Mexico, Costa Rica to play their youth against the U.S. Virgin, or I guess U.S. Virgin Islands probably isn't a good one. Dominica or St. Kitts and Nevis, right? You could still play if your 19-year-olds can't beat them, then you probably don't deserve to be in the top tier.
That's probably true.
So,
but
I mean,
that's the only downside I can think of making every game meaningful. You don't, like, your big players might not get as much rest as they would otherwise.
Yeah. But I think making these games have meaning is more important, I think, because it's quality competition then, and you're playing towards something, whereas the friendlies...
Right, because sometimes you'll have like, okay, it's the Euro qualifying for Europe, but for us it's nothing.
Yeah.
And like, but we have the break, we have to... FIFA is not going to get rid of the international calendar.
No, and I think that's why this is...
Yeah.
It's a good idea. We'll see how it works out and see if it...
But I also
teams take it seriously or not.
Yeah, I think they will if there's something on the line. But we just had the World Cup. I think it's silly to have an international break so soon.
I think that's fair. But for teams who, maybe were not in the World Cup, for me today is the start of the cycle.
Of course.
The new cycle, 2022, begins today at this moment.
Yeah.
So the U.S. played Brazil today. This game means something. The scoreline maybe doesn't mean anything, but we are laying the foundations for 2022 starting today. And I think I'd be much more happier if we had a coach. I think you probably feel the same about Mexico.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the players who are called now under a new coach might not get called.
Right.
But I'm ready to see my boys, and I've gone from despair to now I have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything to look forward to for a year almost because it was October.
Oh, was it? Dang. That's crazy.
It's been a fast year.
It has been a fast year. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I admit, since the World Cup, since we got eliminated, obviously I watched the rest of the World Cup as much as I could, but I stopped following us. When we got eliminated, I just stopped following Mexico, and I just paid attention to everything else. What did you think of the final, though? Like, I think it was an exciting final, because the last two before that, they were 1-0, overtime. Like, neither team wanted to lose. France and Croatia came out.
I think it was a great final. I think it was two teams who knew what they wanted to do, which was nice, because France never wanted possession of the ball. They wanted to counterattack all day, and it fit to their strengths.
Yeah.
And then Croatia's the exact opposite with Luka Modric and those types of players. I mean, Rakitic, they want to possess the ball, and it was two styles, and one came out on top. I thought it was a good game.
I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
I think Mbappe is slowly becoming a superstar before our eyes.
Yeah, that was...
And by slowly, I mean at a really rapid pace.
In like about a month, it took him to become a world superstar. But you want to talk Premier League?
I think we should, I think go ahead.
Well, you want to start or you want me to start? Because I wanted to say, okay, what do you... I mean, we're already a few weeks in.
We are 4, I think.
Yeah, this will be... Yeah, this is week 5 coming up after the break.
Mm-hmm.
Did you expect Chelsea to be doing as well as they're doing?
Absolutely not. So Sarri is completely different approach, the coach, to his style. His pattern to play is completely different to what Antonio Conte wants to run. We're not playing a back 5 anymore, or back 3, depending on how you look at it. And much more possession style, always wants the ball. I thought it was going to take a while for these players to actually integrate, and I thought he was going to have to go get more of his pieces. Now, he did go get his main man, Jorginho, from Napoli. So, I mean, I think that's helping us. I think we're going to hit a rough patch soon. I don't think we're winning the league this year. But I am a lot more optimistic than what I was. I was expecting outside of a top 5 finish, and now, we've discussed since then, and I think top 4 is something we can...
You expected to be more in the position of Arsenal, like struggling to find, I guess, like
an identity.
An identity. That's the word I was wanting to find.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was going to take time. I think we still have a lot of positions that need to be filled. I think we can upgrade in a lot of areas if we really want to compete for the league. I think we have core pieces. I think it was imperative that we kept one of Courtois or Hazard, and we were able to keep Hazard. So I think that's helping us. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I do want to ask you about that.
Go ahead.
No, is that not the most ridiculous thing? That little keeper saga. You sell probably one of the 2 best keepers in the world. You get X amount of dollars or euros for them, or pounds, whatever, and then you buy a no-name keeper for the world record. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you spent more money on a nobody than you got for probably, arguably, the best keeper in the world.
So
how does that even make?
I I have to be clear. I don't know much about.
What's his name even?
Dude, he has a hard name.
No.
You know where he came from, and they have the hardest names on the planet. The hardest names. What I'm saying is he is, I believe, 23.
I don't even remember his name.
I think he's 23.
Are you looking up his name?
I am. I'm gonna look up his age. I know his name, and I cannot say
just
his
butcher
name.
it. It doesn't matter.
This is gonna make me sound really bad. It's Kepa Arrizabalaga, and I said that completely wrong.
Where's he from?
Atletico Bilbao.
Yeah. Oh no, not the club, but he's Spanish?
Yeah.
He's a Spanish keeper? Kepa. That's what they call him.
They
Everyone
call him
just calls
Kepa. But if you Google Atletico Bilbao and try and say any of their names, because they actually have, it's a very cool club that they only sign players from their immediate area.
Yeah.
If you're from their state or province, they sign players. So it's a really neat idea. But they all have the hardest names to say in the world. Every single one of them.
Right.
I think it's tough because I really rated Courtois.
Of course, everyone did.
But when Real Madrid comes calling, very few players say no.
Understandable.
I think
something
no one
I know.
says no.
I mean, something
You know that very
than-
well.
yeah.
Very, very well.
But still, do you justify breaking the world record fee for this kid that nobody had ever heard of before? Like, did you, be honest, had you heard of him before you bought him?
No.
So how does a team like Chelsea go from arguably the best keeper in the world to...
They must know something. They have a much larger scouting department than I do
I don't
here
know.
at my headquarters.
I don't know.
And this apartment that's half moved out.
There's got to be... Who was your backup before that? Didn't you have a backup keeper?
We did, and then we recently signed the greatest England goalkeeper of all time, Robert Green.
I mean, at one point he was the greatest English goalkeeper of all
To
time.
the American public, when Clint Dempsey put a goal nutmegged him in the World Cup. He is our new backup keeper. I'm not very proud of that. Listen, I think we've had a really hard time getting players to come to Chelsea over the past 3 to 4 years, and I don't know why. But all of Conte's top signings that he wanted to bring in never came to fruition. We wanted players from Juventus, they didn't come. We wanted defenders, we wanted outside backs. It was not happening. And I think, we wanted strikers. Think about it. We wanted Lukaku. We wanted all of these great strikers, and we got Morata. And we got Giroud, who are the exact same player. Neither one of them know how to use their feet, and they both only score with their head, if they do score. So, I think we've had a tough time, and I think we might have overpaid for... But you know who really started this is Liverpool. The moment Liverpool started dealing out all this cash to their keeper, to their players, to their defenders, Liverpool, before we signed this keeper, had the most expensive goal in the world and the most expensive center back in the world. They started this. And maybe you can go back in time and say Chelsea started it in 2008, and maybe Man U started it before that, but... listen, the Premier League overpays. That's what they do.
Yeah.
All of their players are paid way too much.
Except for us. We arguably don't pay them enough.
You don't pay them enough, and you don't win trophies.
Wow. Wow. Shots fired already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think you guys will finish? Like, top 4? You think so for sure?
I think top 4. I think Man United will fire Jose Mourinho soon.
Before Christmas.
I think so. I voted for Christmas in a poll recently on Twitter.
Respect, man. Did you see that? Did you see that? That was the
He's the best coach in the world, and he deserves the respect.
Yeah.
I didn't rate him at Chelsea. Don't rate him now.
You think it's because people figured him out? They figured out how he does? Or do you think he's just so abrasive that the players just eventually don't want to play for him?
I think that is a very true statement. And I think his tactics work the way they work, and there's no difference. He's going to park the bus into a Champions title, or he's not going to. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to be. And some years there's going to be teams that are just too good, and you can park the bus all you want. It's not going to work, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Chelsea did. We played no attacking football, and we won the title. He took Man United to a top 4 spot this past year.
No. Yeah. It's their first top 4 spot in a long time.
And I don't think they scored a single goal all year long. That's a joke. Lukaku did score goals, but I mean that's
Not
that's
very
who
many.
he is, and it's not exciting. I think Antonio Conte was more attacking than he was.
And he's Italian.
Um,
That says a lot.
but I honestly I like watching our games right now. I think Hazard is finally able to be the player that he's always wanted to be. Just attack and enjoy the game, and you can see it.
Yeah, you definitely can. You definitely
I mean,
can.
what
He's
it-
scary right now.
I have told you before, and I continue to tell you this. When he is on his game, he is a top 5, maybe top 3 player in the world.
Yeah.
I truly believe it. And right now, with this attacking style that he's allowed to, with this possession, I think you're going to see an incredible year from him.
Yeah. No, like just the few games. Well, it's only been 4 games, but I think I've watched 2 of your games. I think I watched the Arsenal Chelsea game, and then
The Newcastle, maybe?
yeah, that's the one I watched. Hazard looks scary good.
Yeah.
Like scary good. Like I
And
kind of want him. I kind of wanted him to get sold before the window, but that's how scary good he was.
You know, this window, it was Courtois and Hazard to Real Madrid is what the links were. Willian to Barcelona. Like, we were getting poached. I think I got to give it up for them. If they're able to keep 2 out of the 3 of those players and maintain, like, a good locker room. Because, you know, sometimes players want to go, and if you don't let them go,
They get grumpy.
they get grumpy. So, I mean, if he can be happy in this style of play, then I think that's the biggest win of the season, honestly. If we can keep him at Chelsea forever,
Yeah. Because I mean,
I think that'll be a coup all in itself.
yeah. Yeah, but he's looking scary good. Williams looking good. I think.
Jorginho's awesome. He's
You think so?
He's a fun player. I mean, he's a Modric type player. He makes the engine
Yeah.
go. He makes the machine work.
Is he Portuguese or Brazilian?
He's Brazilian Italian.
Oh.
He was born in Brazil, moved to Italy when he was very young. But he actually plays. He's for the Italian national team. Is
Oh,
what he
okay.
is.
Okay.
But he has dual citizenship.
Gotcha.
So that also kind of hits me near and dear to my heart with my Italian and my fiance's Brazilian
Right.
background.
Right, right.
I think he's a good player. I think it's very awkward how we have him and Conte right now. We're really trying to figure out how that's going to work because he's playing the deepest right now.
Yeah, I've seen Conte playing on the wings. I've seen him as your widest player. I'm like, what's he doing over there?
Well, I mean, Sarri wants his deepest player to be controlling possession, and Conte, I think, is good in possession, but I don't think he's
He's not a.
he's not a Fabregas, Pirlo.
Right.
You know, he's not going to make the he's not a shuttler, I guess is the best way I like to call it, moving the ball from one side to the other,
Right.
constant little passes. The thing that keeps possession. Every team, I think, needs one if you're playing that style. So I think that'll be something that we work out. I think Conte's a good enough player, though, that he can still clean up the defense
That's
and still play that. I think he can do both.
It's from the wings. It's a little difficult. So, because I don't know. Like I don't know, but it's been working. So what can I say?
It works. I think it's something we're going to see develop more over the season as the season goes on. But I think it's interesting, and I think the team is interesting this year. I'll go on record that I did not want to fire Antonio Conte.
Right.
I thought he was a good coach.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy with Sarri ball right now.
Right. He looks like it's so funny because he wears these really baggy shirts and baggy pants, and you could tell he's a smoker.
Oh no, if you watch old videos of him in the Italian Serie A, he's smoking a cigarette on the sideline.
Or like I know he like puts them in his mouth, but he can't light them because that's
Yeah.
against the rules.
Yeah.
He just looks like one of those guys, and you could.
He looks like somebody who should be sitting at the end of a coffee shop, like making deals and smoking a cigar.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So, so let me ask you this: do you think your striker core, or your defense is your biggest weakness?
I think it's a good question, but I think I have an answer, and I think it's the striking core, bar none.
Okay.
I think Conte, and we disagree over this, is one of the best center defensive mids in the world. And I think even on the wing, he's able to clean up messes that most players wouldn't even be able to if they were sitting right in front of the defense. So I think that covers up our defensive woes. I think our possession covers up our defensive woes because the best defense is never letting the other team have the ball. So I think those two things combined make our defense look better than what it is. It's kind of like a fake mask in front of our face. It covers us up. It's a mustache. But the striking partners. I mean, I was not happy when we signed Morata. He ended up scoring a decent amount of goals. I don't think he scored one with his foot entire year. I mean, and then Giroud it was such an odd signing because they're the same player. Neither one of them know how to use their feet. They're not particularly great at holding the ball up, and it's a strange thing for me. I think our number one priority, and I'm sure a lot of teams' number one priority, is to go out and get a better striker. I think Batshuayi should have came in and he should have been given a chance, but
with Willian and Hazard, I could predict that Hazard's going to be your number one scorer this season.
I think him and Willian have been our number one scorers for 3 seasons since Diego Costa
left. Yeah, but I mean, if you have that kind of player, you don't really need that good of a striker. Look at Liverpool. Like, Mo Salah is a winger, and he's just like, he tore it up last season.
He did. Did they win any trophies?
No, that's not the point.
I think the point is to win trophies.
Yeah, but you don't need...
Your wingers can only carry you so far, I think. I think wingers are only going to get so many goals because they are out on the wing. You're not going to see a winger, and Mo Salah was the bar none exception, and I don't think you'll see it again this year, who's going to score 20-plus goals. It's just, I don't think wingers do that.
Right.
So, I don't see Hazard scoring 20-plus goals.
You don't?
I see maybe 15 and 10, 15 and...
How many does he have so far? Like, off the top of your head?
I think 2 or 3 on the season. It's only 4 games in.
Right.
I think 2 is probably what he has, but he has a decent amount of assists already.
Yeah.
I think striker is the main thing. I think Andreas Christensen is a good defender, and I don't think we need to buy somebody for that position. Rudiger, I mean, people rate him. He keeps playing with Germany.
I don't know how.
I'm not a big fan. Honestly, I like Kurt Zouma, and I wish Kurt Zouma never got injured because I think he would have been starting.
And he had Stoke or Sunderland or something?
Yeah, Stoke.
Stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think David Luiz is who he is.
He definitely is.
He can be the best defender one game, and the next game you could be like, how are you professional? Like
what are you doing, like, trying to score goals?
Why are you up in the box, the other 6-yard box?
Right.
Like, but he is what he is, and when he's on his game, and when he's not, he's not. So I think number one priority needs to be to get that. And I think we still need an outside back, and I think we need a center back. And I think if we do that, we're title contenders. If we don't do that, then top 4 finish is the best we got.
Who would you want as a striker? Like, if you could have...
I could pick anybody in the entire world.
Realistically, like, you're not going to steal Neymar from PSG, but...
I would just keep stealing players from Napoli, and I'd go get, like, was it Insigne or I'm drawing a blank right now. It's not Insigne. They just got Higuain, but who's the striker right now for? It's Insigne, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna pretend to know.
I would get somebody like that, or Mertens. Mertens was playing striker for a while.
Yeah.
I think somebody who's gonna be. So I think we're gonna play very similar to Liverpool right now. I don't think we're gonna be as high pace as them, but we want possession. So I think a striker who can combine well is what we need right now. So somebody who's good with their feet, not necessarily going to score 20 goals, but who's going to help contribute. And right now, neither of our strikers, I think, are going to do that. They want to stand up there and they want to head the ball. And we had 82 possession against Newcastle. How many crosses do we? I don't see us sending in lots of crosses.
No, you don't.
We don't want to. We want to dribble. We want to pass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't necessarily know who that is, but...
All right, what about your outside back, like you said? Who would you want?
I'll take Alexandro from Juventus.
Okay, fair. What about center back?
Center back is a tough one. I think Matt Miazga, who's already in the Chelsea pipeline.
He hasn't played in a while.
He plays in Nantes right now. Just got a new loan to Nantes in League
France.
1. Yeah, France. League 1.
League 1. Okay.
And I mean, he got the captain armband at Vitesse. He brought them into they won the league, and now he got a better. I think League is a step up from the German the Netherlands, the Dutch league. So
yeah.
I don't think he's ready for Chelsea, but
right. How old is he now? Like 21?
23, I think.
23?
Somewhere around that.
All right.
I keep saying 23 for everybody today, though, so that could just be my go-to number.
Right. All right.
I don't necessarily have a center back I think we need. I think there's plenty out there that we could upgrade to. But we have a lot on our roster right now because we were playing three at the back. I think we just find a pairing and we go with it.
Yeah. Is, what's his face? Former Everton? Still playing with you guys? What's his name? He's awful.
This is a center back?
Yeah. Wasn't he former Everton? I'm drawing a blank. English dude. And everyone's like, how?
Gary Cahill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just sits the bench now.
Okay.
Which I'm not upset about because
No.
I was never a big Cahill fan.
He's not good. I don't know how Chelsea ever thought he was of Chelsea caliber.
Well, I mean, so we were linked to Koulibaly, who's the Napoli center back, who's I think French.
Yeah.
We were linked with him, and people rate him.
Didn't you just also buy somebody from Everton? I think you got him in January, and he didn't play much, but he's been playing.
We got Danny Drinkwater, but he was from
no, that's
Leicester.
from Leicester.
Yeah.
But no, there's a guy that you. Yeah, he's definitely. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
That's okay, but I mean that's.
There's a lot of players that like. I look at when I look at a team and I say, okay, this is the kind of caliber of player that this team would have, and I look at Chelsea sometimes. I'm like, why would you even buy that guy? Like, he's not that good.
I don't think our team is super talented right now. I think our depth is bad.
Yeah.
I think our depth is low Premier League, Champions League depth. I think the only good player we have coming off the bench is Willian or Pedro, whatever one's not starting that day.
Right.
I mean, other than that, I don't think we have great players, and I think depth is something we're really going to lack, especially if we do get back into Champions League. I mean, you need depth. I mean, it's something you have to have. So I think that's big. But... So, I have them finishing top four now. I did not at the beginning of the season. I've since changed my mind.
So, who do they knock out? Manchester United?
I think United gets knocked out. Listen, I've been hot on Tottenham. 2 years in a row, I said it's their year. They're going to win the league. They've kept the same team. They lost maybe, one player in Kyle Walker. Other than that, they kept, and then they added. They got the outside back from PSG.
Yeah, Lucas Moura.
Or, no, I was going to say REA.
Oh, yeah, he came too.
He came too as well, and I rated him. But I'm done with them this year. I mean, unfortunately,
I think we have a lot of problems right now. Not the team. Like, we talk. I don't think, did we talk about, like, obviously everyone was like, oh, Tottenham didn't sign anyone this summer, and it was like a debacle. Like, they're going to get relegated. Like, this is the first team that's ever done that. And I am looking around, I'm like, well...
I think you have a talented team.
I don't think so this is the thing. Here's the problem. Do I think there are positions we can upgrade? Yes, definitely. There are some positions I think we can't upgrade. Like, I don't think, who are you going to get that's better than Harry Kane right now? You know, and our front four I think is good enough that we don't...
Right, what center back pairing is going to be better than the center back pairing you have right now?
Exactly. Those are my points. Like, between Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Sanchez, you're not going to get a better... It doesn't matter which of those two, if you're playing like two center backs or even all three of them.
I agree. There's not many places you're going to upgrade, I don't think.
Right.
Maybe an outside back.
Maybe outside backs, left and right back. Maybe midfield. I can see, because Moussa Dembele is getting old, and I can see we need somebody to replace him. And we had a couple of sniffs here and there to players that we're going to... I think his name is Jack Grealish.
I like him. I've seen him play.
Yeah.
I like watching him play, actually. He's very talented.
And then, Aston Villa wanted like $1 billion from him. Like, you know what? It's not that important that we get him. And there was who else were we looking at? We were kind of looking at Kovacic, the Croatian dude.
Where did he go again?
He's on loan with you guys. I like that guy. He's good. But so here's the problem. There are some positions where we're not going to upgrade. There's no players that we're going to be like, all right,
who will be better, who will improve your squad.
Or we can't afford them. Like, for what we have right now, like if we wanted to upgrade midfield, we'd be looking at breaking our transfer record, and we just don't have that money. And the players would be wanting, Alexis Sanchez money. I think like last time I heard, he's making almost £500,000 a week. Like we're not going to get that. We're not. So it's either a player is going to come in knowing that he's going to play backup to Harry Kane. We need a backup striker.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come like anyone who comes to Tottenham knows if you're coming as a striker, you're riding the bench unless Harry Kane gets hurt
Or sold.
or how dare you. But on your point earlier, we were very lucky that nobody left. Like literally nobody.
And it's been like that, I think, for 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah.
The only players left is Kyle Walker.
So I think a lot of people are criticizing us for not buying anyone. And to be honest with you, the way how crazy the market is right now, we didn't need to buy anyone. Lucas Moura didn't play very much last season. He's playing a lot now. I don't want to be Arsene Wenger and say he's like a new signing every time like Jack Wilshere came back from injury
or loan
yeah. So, but I think he's kind of like he's practically a new player because he played like maybe 4 or 5 games last season, combined in all competitions, and now he's our top scorer right now, and he's killing it. And I love how he's so direct, and I think Heung-min Son coming back from the Asian Cup, he doesn't have a starting place guaranteed. Like Lucas Moura's been that good.
That's insane because I like Son a lot.
Oh, I love Son.
I think he's a great player.
I think Son on one side, Lucas Moura on the other side is very similar to Hazard, Willian for you. Like I think they're both very dangerous, direct players.
But is Luka Moura playing above what his actual potential is?
I don't think
Is
so.
he going to regress to the mean, or is this?
No.
Do you think he's going to continue this?
I think he's like settled into the team, and he's always been very direct, and I think he's benefiting. Like now that he's been playing with the team for a while, he didn't go to the World Cup, so he got to stay and like actually have a preseason. And I think the other problem for us is going to be that a lot of our players made it really deep into the World Cup. Like the vast majority of our players made it very deep into the like either with Belgium or England.
Yeah.
They all went deep. And then the biggest problem I think is we don't have a home. And I think that's going to affect us more than.
And I even think your
think.
new home will take. I mean, the new stadiums. I always think it's kind of odd because it's not really home yet. You're not used to it for a while, so I think that you don't get that necessarily home field advantage that you think you would.
But I counter that with last season, the last couple of seasons at Wembley, we had one of the best home records in the league. Like we only lost to you guys and City last season at home. There was the only teams that beat us at Wembley. Like everyone else, we wiped the floor with them. So I think if we had started the season in the new stadium, we would have been golden. But now, okay, so fine, a little bit of a delay. So our first home game was supposed to be Liverpool. We even got our schedule redone so that we could play away, and then finally play our first home game against Liverpool.
Right.
Now that got delayed. All right, that's fine. Then we got a League Cup game that's going to be played at MK Dons Stadium now, which is like 20 miles north of London. Okay, that's annoying. And then now the City game is getting pushed to Wembley as well. And now, I don't know how true this is, but some article is saying that if we delay so much, the FA is going to be like, now you're going to have to play the entire season at Wembley. UEFA won't let us play home and away home matches in different stadiums in the group stage.
So if you start one, you have to go through the entire
Right.
thing.
So right now we're starting our home games for the group stage at Wembley. So the group stage at the very least is all going to be played at Wembley. So we're playing Barcelona at Wembley, we're playing PSV at Wembley, and we're playing Inter Milan at Wembley. If the stadium's ready after that, we can play knockout, assuming we qualify. But we can play knockout games at New White Hart Lane, maybe. But as of right
New White Hart Lane, is that the name of it?
No, it's the official name of the stadium right now is called New Tottenham Stadium.
There'll be some kind of...
Yeah, it's going to be like the Zephyr Hills Arena. It's the first thing I saw.
I don't know if there's Zephyr Hills in England,
No.
but it'll be something...
It'll be something soon.
Bet 165
Yeah,
stadium.
God, I hope not. No. I'd rather have like the Emirates or like something like that than a gambling website.
Was it you who told me this, that Christian Pulisic couldn't get a man of the match one game for Dortmund because the man of the match was sponsored by Heineken or some kind of gambling? Did you tell me this or
No.
someone else? Someone else told me this. He couldn't get a man of the match for Dortmund because it was sponsored by Heineken or one of the gambling sites, and he's not old enough. and so they couldn't give him the man of the match, so they had to give it to somebody else.
That's funny. I know there's some leagues that don't allow gambling. It's illegal.
Yeah.
So when visiting teams like from other countries, like if you're playing European, you can't wear a sponsor with gambling on your shirt.
So this is actually pretty funny too as well, because as you know, but our listeners don't know, is I finally got to go to my first Premier League game ever.
Right.
Over last month, and it was a Fulham game at Creative in College, which I loved every minute of. Fulham, thank you very much. And it was against Palace, and the Palace fans were absolutely insane. But they're sponsored by Fulham is sponsored by a gambling site, Bet 165 or something like that. And I'm a small guy, and so I actually sometimes buy children's extra larges. They're cheaper.
Yes.
Don't judge me.
Right.
And so it's a way for me to save a couple bucks, and the jerseys are normally the exact same. Well, guess what I couldn't do? I couldn't buy a children's jersey because they don't have they sell them without the logo. So it's not a real jersey because the children can't wear a jersey with a gambling site on it.
What?
So I had to pay full price for an adult jersey.
That's funny.
It's funny, and it's upsetting.
I never knew that.
All of my Chelsea jerseys are children's extra larges.
And that's funny too. But I didn't know that they couldn't sell children's jerseys with gambling.
They can't. No.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, because I specifically asked. I said, where are the children's jerseys for my son, not for me? And the guy's like, "Oh, they're right there." And I was like, "They don't have the logo." He's like, "No, we can't have them." And I was like, "That's upsetting for me." And it's just, it almost makes you think, why would they even do it then?
Yeah.
Well, their old logo too, or their old sponsor was Visit Florida.
Yeah.
So I thought that would have been really cool, but they changed it this last year. So that's my little.
Couldn't you send it to another, like a T-shirt company to have the logo
maybe
pressed into
but
it?
I think
That's too
I
much
might
trouble.
be violating some kind of international trademark law or something.
Yeah. That's funny though. I didn't know about that. That's cool. But I do have a picture of you with a Fulham jersey on, and Chelsea.
Don't tell Chelsea. Don't tell Chelsea. Listen, it was my first Premier League game ever, and I wanted to feel like I was in it. So me and my buddy both got Fulham jerseys. We actually sat on the other side. We sat on the Palace side, but our one corner was Fulham fans, and it was insane. Craven Cottage was super cool. It was in a neighborhood, very old-fashioned British soccer, and that's what I wanted, like UK soccer, and it was very, very cool to see.
Yeah, I would kill to go to a London derby. It doesn't matter what teams. Like I would go to Queen's Park Rangers Palace game. I
saw Palace, and it's so cool because it's the stadium's on a river, and Palace, I guess, are just right down the river, and they came, all of their away fans, on ferries.
Yeah.
Drunk out of their mind. You could hear them all the way down the river just singing one after another, just full voice singing. Great experience.
You can't duplicate that kind of atmosphere. It's awesome.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm really jealous.
It was a fun time. It would have been nice if Fulham had gotten the win, but
yeah, that was. Speaking of Fulham and Wolves,
signed pretty good teams.
They have I was watching Fulham. I'm like, oh, Schürrle? What?
Yeah, and then Sarri from
Yeah.
Was it Roma or AC Milan? Maybe one of the two. Good player.
I'm looking at this Fulham team. I'm like, this is a decent squad.
Yeah, no.
And then I saw Wolves. And I was like, is this the Portuguese national team?
Yeah, they signed all of them.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, I like Wolves being back too. I have a soft spot in my heart for Wolves. So
I've never liked Fulham because they're a London team.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But I'm cheering for them. I hope they stay up. And Wolves. I hope
Me
they
too.
stay up.
I like that. I think both those teams should stay up. And then Fulham, it's cool because, we like to call them here Full America because normally they have so many Americans, and they still do. Tim Ream was injured for the game, so I didn't get to see him. And then we have two other kids who are coming up through the youth ranks. So
and you had Dempsey.
We had Dempsey. I think Brian McBride. Just a lot of players.
Part of the reason I'm pulling for Wolves is because they have Raul Jimenez playing striker. He scored a goal in their first game. He brought him back.
The team is good. I like both of their teams. I think they both put together pretty good solid teams.
And where did they get this money? It's insane to me that they had enough funds to they're stacked. Both teams are good. I think they're better than a lot of the established teams right now.
I think so.
anyway. But
I think it'll be interesting to see who gets relegated this year. I'm hoping it's not Newcastle because I like Yedlin staying up and I like Newcastle. And I think Newcastle is like a team that deserves, like I think their fans deserve to be in.
Yeah,
the
because
Prem.
their owner sucks. But I've always liked Newcastle as one of those traditional teams.
Right.
Like they have history. They're not like champions. Like they don't have like a cabinet
Right.
full of trophies. But they're one of those teams. Like when I first started watching Premier League, Newcastle equals Premier League. They play.
Same, and that's why I think about the Wolves too or Fulham. I think
Yeah.
both of those teams as well. I mean, I told you this. One of the first teams I ever played on was sponsored by. We were the Largo Wolves, and we were
Right.
sponsored by Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
We had the wolf and everything. It was super cool jerseys.
But yeah, it will be interesting. And at this point, like we started off the season really well. Harry Kane scored an August goal, 2 August goals even. Like wow, he's on pace for like 100.
That means Lucas Moura is on pace for 1,000.
Yeah,
Right?
right. I mean, everyone's just like that was such a big deal over the last 4 seasons. Like, oh, there's a hoodoo, the August goal scoring drought.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, come on, just what? It's so dumb. Like the things that people pick up on to like write
Creates a
an
story.
article, yeah, like oh my god. So fine, he finally scored his goal. He has an August goal now, but yeah, we lost this last week.
Watford's a good team, right?
Watford is a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but we played bad. Did you watch? No, you probably
I didn't know.
Now we played bad. We deserve to lose against anyone. It's not just Watford, but I mean that's the first time since the '80s that Watford beats Tottenham ever. So that was kind of sucky.
Yeah.
And I was fully expecting us to beat them. And beat them well enough that we would jump Liverpool to first. Like I came in expecting like to sing, like we are top of the league.
Yeah, I
was gonna
me
sing.
and you had the discussion about the undefeated teams a couple days before.
Yeah, and I thought we were definitely going to be that, and then we didn't play well, and like it felt like we were toying with them. Like, look how much better than you we are, and we just
Watford they had 3 wins. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why you came in with that mentality.
I'm not saying that's the mentality they
Yeah,
had.
right. But sometimes
But I mean, I've come.
you think you're better, you play better,
especially
and
after
someone
like
slaps you in your face.
wipe the floor with Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Well, I think we're learning that Manchester United's not a good team right now.
Oh, they're definitely not. They're definitely not a good team. They're poorly managed, and they haven't. You know what? I had this thought in my head. I was taking a shower and I was thinking. I was like, all right, Manchester United was, I want to say, a nobody team before the Premier League started, but they were not as. Their history really started when Sir Alex Ferguson, well, just regular Alex Ferguson took over. He had a couple of seasons that were not very good. I think it was his 3rd season. He started off the season with 3 losses in a row. They were this close to firing him. They gave him another chance, and he ended up winning the league that year. And the rest is history. Like he won everything. And at one point, like they were the envy of Europe. Like they were the best team
Everybody
in the
wants
world.
to go there, right?
In the world. And then right before he retired, he still was winning the league, but with really mediocre players. And then with the same team, nobody's ever been able to do the same.
Yeah.
Like you can't say right now that Manchester United is a top class club. They're a good brand. They're a big brand. They're traded in the New York Stock Exchange for
Yeah.
goodness sake. But they're not a top club. Like, right?
But they have big players, though.
They have some big players, and then they have some really bad players. Which brings me to my next little topic that I wanted to talk about.
Good transition.
Yeah, that was a complete accident. So I was reading this article about Mesut Ozil, and Tottenham fans love making fun of him because he's garbage. Except, like they were showing his stats, and he's really not garbage. He over the last few seasons, he has the most assists, most chances created, most dangerous chances
For the
created
team.
in the league.
Really?
In the league. Like more than
Christian Eriksen.
Christian Eriksen, more than what's his name for Manchester.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne. Like, really? Like, you're looking at these stats, like, yeah, he's that good. But Arsenal are garbage.
Yeah.
So, the argument that the author was making is, you can have a really, really good player, but soccer is a sport such that your best player can't pick up a team and put them on the shoulders. Not like basketball, because he compared it to basketball.
Basketball, you have 5 players.
You have 5
on the court.
players, the court is very small, and your best player has more is more likely to touch the ball.
Way more than anybody else.
Way more than anyone else.
Mhm.
Whereas in soccer, you have 11 guys
Share the ball pretty
share the
equally.
ball pretty equally. And it's a lot harder for one guy to like take the team and carry them to victory. Versus, it's a lot more likely that you are only as good as your weakest link. So, well, that was
I understand the one side of the argument, but I feel like if you're saying one player can't make a team, then I feel like the vice versa should also be true, and one player can't break a team.
But I wish I had saved this article. This was a few weeks ago. They actually some sports thing like some people did a study, and they some sports science. They did the study, and apparently it's a lot more likely that your worst players will bring you down than it is that your best players will bring you up.
So I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity in this. So how do you determine who is your worst?
I don't remember
player?
how they did it, but it seemed legit when I was reading it, and it makes a little bit of sense because if he really is that good, why are they struggling so much?
Because there's nobody around him to score.
Right.
I mean, people only see stats as an indicator of who's good and who's not good. When the argument we have, I'll take it to the argument me and you constantly have about N'Golo Kante. You always tell me how Musa Sissoko or
not Musa Sissoko
or Dembele has more tackles than
I said
N'Golo Kante.
Wanyama
has more tackles on a season than N'Golo Kante, so he must be better.
at that particular job, which is.
And I think that is insane to think. I think you look at the eye test and you say, well, maybe he's getting burnt so much that he has to make the tackle, or he's out of position. Whereas I think about it as N'Golo Kante is there and not allowing that pass to come in, or players are playing around him because he's there. I think sometimes your best player doesn't need to be on the stat sheet, that he's there making it all just connect.
All right.
And so I think we get, especially here in the U.S., we love our statistics. Like, basketball, how many rebounds does he have? How many points does he have?
Other basketball words.
Football, how many receptions, how many yards, right? And that's how we decide a good player. And I think soccer is a different sport. I think intangibles makes a player. I think personality makes a player, and I think their impact on the pitch is not always their statistics. And I think at the end of the day, a goal scorer needs to have goals, right? If he's not scoring goals, then what are you paying him for? But I think other positions, like defense, I think sometimes your best defender is the one you never had to talk about the entire game.
Yeah.
If you didn't say his name the entire game, he's man of the match, right? I mean, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
If he's not having his name brought up, he did his job, and that's what you should be happy about. And I think we get lost in that sometimes, and I think this is why me and you had the argument about N'Golo Kante, because he might not have as many tackles as Wanyama, but maybe he didn't need it.
True enough. But, so, you have Paul Pogba on United. Arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. When he plays for France, he is. But he plays for United, he's not. But you think, you look at the players around him, and they're really not good. Like, Phil Jones wouldn't...
Not a good player.
No. What's he doing on Manchester United? Can they not bring anyone else? But the point is, you have a team that's... Alex Ferguson could easily win a title with this team. Because that's just what he did. He brought players that were not that great. Because freaking Phil Jones has been around United since when Ferguson was coaching them. Same with, what was his name? Johnny Evans. Horrible player.
Yeah, but they also had Rio Ferdinand.
He was old.
Paul Scholes.
He was also really old.
They weren't old always.
No, when they were in their prime, they were great. But when he won with them, this last season he coached, Paul Scholes was already 36.
Yeah, but Paul Scholes is a player at 36 who is, I think, only gets better. They're like a fine wine.
Right. It's like a Pirlo or a Xavi Hernandez.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just get better with age. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, these guys are, you look at the 2008 Manchester United, and then you look at this Manchester United, you're like, how many of these players would make that team? Paul Pogba. That's it. Maybe De Gea. That's about it.
That's a fair point.
Who else makes that team? Those were world domination teams, and like
I think people. I mean, and I'm with you here. I think Mourinho is a one-trick pony, and I think it's boring, and I think it's a way he plays. I'm a defender, and I think he is over the top when it comes to. He has no imagination, and it's horrible to watch. He is the antithesis of Jurgen Klopp, I feel like, or Pep Guardiola.
That's probably why they don't get along.
Right. I mean, but I think Paul Pogba came in with such a big price tag that people wanted to see a center attacking mid with 20 goals a season, and that's not the player he necessarily is. And so I think that's why he gets so much hate.
Also see him walking a lot. If you're a box-to-box, he shouldn't be walking. Why is he walking?
I think it's a fair point, but I also think we underestimate sometimes letting a play out. I'm energetic when I'm on the field. I move 100 times. I'm constantly moving, but when I move, people notice me, and so they're constantly tracking me. When sometimes if you just kind of float out, it's like really good strikers. You'll notice they'll kind of just like stand there and like float away from the defender a little bit to get that 2-3 yards of space. I think it's a very similar thing with him.
But he's not producing. Like, you can't say like, well, that's a strategy. He's trying to like ghost and then like reemerge somewhere else. He's just not producing for them.
But what is producing?
Like, what? How many assists does he have?
See, we're getting back to
right, but like he's not contributing to the team. Like, he's not.
I think if he's making them tick, right?
But he's not, because they.
Is that his?
I think it's the manager's fault.
Is it the manager's fault or is it his fault?
I think it's the manager's fault.
I don't think it's his fault. I think he's a possession-based player in a system that doesn't want possession.
Yeah.
I think managers sometimes buy the best players rather than the best players for their system.
Did he buy him or did Woodward buy him?
That's a good question.
Well, that's the other big. I love listening to them bicker.
Yeah.
Because Mourinho will throw anyone under the bus, even his boss. But he's the master of making excuses before the bad things happen.
Yeah.
Like, in the offseason, he was already saying, like, we're not going to do well.
Right, he says, I have a bad team.
Yeah,
I don't have talented players.
Right.
Is already what he's saying about his
right,
players.
before, like, when they were still in the U.S. tour. So, like, if they do bad, he'd be like, see, I told you. But if they do well, he's like, look what I did with the crap you gave me. He's really good at that kind of mind game.
I think the league is very intriguing this year, though. I think you have a lot of coaches who want to do different things. I think you have a lot of teams that came up that are exciting to watch now. You know, when we have like Cardiff coming up and down or Brighton, nobody was terribly, excited about like Brighton and Hove or Huddersfield coming up, right? But you have teams with history coming up now. I think the league is exciting this year, and I think with the addition of Sarri, you have another attacking team who wants possession. Let's see if Guardiola can do what he did last year. Let's see if Jurgen Klopp can finally win a trophy. Let's see if Tottenham can...
Hey, we already won a trophy this season. We won the International Champions Cup. That was just step one.
I'm just shaking my head, everybody. I'm just shaking my head. I think it's important... At the end of the day, I think it's important for teams like Liverpool and Tottenham to win a trophy. Everybody loves Jurgen Klopp, and he's the next up-and-comer, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But what have you done? Did you win at Dortmund? No. Did you win at Liverpool? No. You can take teams to the Champions League, but if you don't win and you play beautiful soccer, what's the point? Now, I understand Jose Mourinho is the exact thing, as I said, the antithesis, where he doesn't play beautiful soccer and he does win sometimes, but I think you want a little bit of the in-between. But at the end of the day, you have to win something. Tottenham, great team, great coach, win something. Yeah. Anything. Win the FA Cup. You can win the FA Cup. There's no reason why you can't win the FA Cup.
I say the same. I would take the League Cup right now. What do they call it? The Carabao now?
Yeah, I
don't care what.
I don't care about the Carabao Cup.
No. I still call... What was it? It was some beer sponsor before. The Carling Cup. That's when I came in, it was the Carling Cup. I still call it the Carling Cup. Yeah. It's been through like 2 different sponsors since then. But
yeah. Don't win that. Win that FA Cup.
It doesn't matter. Like, I think... I forgot who I was talking to. Somebody's like, you need to bring in players who have won. I'm like, well, they had to start somewhere too. Like, I don't think we need to bring in winners. Like, you need winners. You need to buy a winning player that.
Right.
Like, I think you can just build it from nothing.
I think you can build it from nothing, but I think you need that first one, and I think it's hard to get it.
No, I think it's hard to get it, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. I would take the League Cup. I think that would kickstart something. Like, it doesn't matter which one it is, as long as it's a trophy that you win. You can say this was a successful season, because look, right now Manchester United is like, we won the League Cup last year. And they're like holding it over Liverpool. They're like, we might have finished below you, but did you win any trophies? We won the League Cup.
Or like it's like Arsenal winning the FA Cup 2 years ago.
Right.
Or Chelsea winning last year, even though that didn't save their manager.
Yeah. But that's the point. Like, when you're winning it, it doesn't matter if it's a minor, quote-unquote, minor trophy, as long as you're winning it.
Right.
Because Tottenham fans are like, who cares? You won the League Cup. And they're like, well, at least we won something.
Yes.
So that's the argument. I would take the League Cup right now. Like, if you told me to... I think
You did.
So here was the question: would you rather finish in 4th place and win the FA Cup, finish in 3rd place and win the League Cup, or finish in 2nd place and win nothing? And you answered,
I took the FA Cup in 4th.
yeah. Why? Because it's a trophy.
It's the trophy, and then you also get Champions League football.
Right.
But I think it's the better trophy. I don't think there's any difference between 4th and 3rd. I don't think there's any difference between 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
Right, because you didn't win the league.
You didn't win the league.
But you wanted...
You won the better trophy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of people would say the same. Like, if you told me right now, you're getting 4th place, but you're winning one of the 2 tournaments,
right.
I'll take that. I'll take 4th place in the League Cup. I would take 4th place right now, guaranteed 4th place, and the League Cup over finishing 2nd. Like, I would even let Arsenal finish above us. I don't care. As long
I
as...
don't think that's happening.
I don't know. I like Unai Emery. I liked him at Valencia.
Not a big fan, but I mean we'll see. I mean I haven't seen him that much.
They're bad. They're really bad. They really are. I expected you and them to like have a really hard season, like getting used to the manager, getting used to all this stuff. But they went off and bought players that, again, like nobody had ever heard of. I don't even.
I mean, they got Aubameyang last season, and I think he's a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
And he just
didn't. Like, that's what happened when we bought Roberto Soldado a few seasons ago. I loved him at Valencia. I loved him. Like, he's one of the reasons why I was like such a big Valencia fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like 8 years ago because of him. And then when I heard that we bought him, I was just like, whoa! And then he didn't score.
Yep.
Very many at all.
Yeah.
But he worked hard, and he's always been a fan favorite. People
I
like
mean,
it. Look at Giroud in the World Cup. Everyone kept talking about how he didn't score a single goal, but he contributed.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
If they didn't win the World Cup, I bet it wouldn't have been as
It
fine.
wouldn't have been as fine. But they didn't need him. They had freaking Mbappe. You give that kid the ball, he's just like going to run through everyone and just score.
It's not even his pace either. His touch is fantastic too. Like everybody talks about his pace and like he is really, really, really fast, but like his touch is great every time. And his finishing is phenomenal.
Yeah. Left foot, right foot, doesn't matter. He's good. He's fun to watch.
That one in the actual World Cup game, like outside the box, where he just turned and ripped it into the side. It's like this is an 18-year-old in the World Cup. Like didn't even hesitate. It's unbelievable.
No, he's so fun to watch.
Well, speaking about the international game, should we jump to the international friendlies this weekend and talk about them?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I have not followed Mexico at all. I know we hired that Brazilian dude that we hired before as our interim.
Who is it?
I forgot his name. Peretti. He
Okay.
coached Tigres for a while.
Okay.
When we had him, we had an undefeated. Like we went on a 3-game win streak when he was managing.
Okay, so I mean, we'll take it back a little. Let's take a couple steps back. Do you think Osorio should still be in the head coaching position?
My personal thoughts. I thought he was a phenomenal manager. He's got the best record of any Mexican coach over since a long time.
This is the longest one there. They all stay like 3 games.
Yeah, no. Even before that, we had 2006 World Cup. We had. I'm not gonna remember anybody's name right now. For some reason, like I'm drawing.
I couldn't either earlier. Don't worry.
So
it's our first time back into it in a while.
This is true.
Let us work into it again.
Where's our research team?
He's laying down sleeping right now.
Maybe with some belly rubs, he'll get up.
Some belly rubs, he'll get up and do some more research.
So he didn't just. We won the Gold Cup. We we won third? We made it to the third place game. We got fourth place in Russia, the Confed Cup. We qualified number 1
in the
in CONCACAF. And he did it with like the least amount of losses we've had. He didn't even have double-digit losses in his tenure as coach. But nobody can forget the freaking Chile game. That's the only thing anyone ever talks about. I think it's just like to like add fuel to the fire. There's no fire.
What about the Sweden game?
I think that was you have to like if your methods have worked the entire time and you have one of those games, you have to blame it on the players. I told you that when we lost to Chile's 5-0, 6-1? 6-1. First of all, that's not our worst loss in history. People keep saying it is. It's not. We lost to England in the 60s by more goals. So that's just for starters. But second of all, forget it. It happened. There's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. And it's not helping the players, and it's not helping the managers, it's not helping the national team or the program for you to keep harping on one thing that happened one time. All right? It happened. That's a fluke. Obviously, that's a fluke. If that had been our worst loss in history, obviously that's a fluke. We've never lost that bad before, right?
And you guys were in good form too.
And we were in great form. It's a fluke. Like we had done really well in the entire tournament. We get to Chile, they beat us. Oh, okay, it happens. Freaking Brazil lost to Germany in the World Cup at home by 5-1.
Yeah, no one said that.
Nobody.
I mean, they haven't moved on from that. I'll tell you that.
Haven't they? Like nobody talks about that anymore.
I mean, their Twitter account did when Germany got knocked out in the World Cup. Did you see that?
No.
The Brazil national team, had something to say when Germany got knocked out of the group stages. It was kind of funny.
Oh, I mean, that's great. Like, it's one thing to like remember it and be like, "Oh, that was the low point," but it's another thing to continue to attack the players and the team and the manager over that.
It's the day and age we live in.
Yeah, like get over it, move on. Like I said, you're hurting more than you're helping. That's number one. Number two, like I said, he had the best record that we've had. I think we have a toxic media. Like when I say we, I say Mexico.
The confederation itself.
Yeah. No. Mexico. Like the Mexican soccer media is it's a cancer. They are like this. It's a cesspool of ignorance and just like horrible people. Like what was the last?
Do you think they have too high of expectations for the Mexican national team?
I think, as a people, we're very negative. Like just generally, like Mexicans are very like pessimistic. And sometimes to the point of like jokingly, like the world's ending, and that's how we are. But I think that attitude has seeped into the media, and they're not joking. And that's the difference between like everyday Mexicans that are like, oh, like everything sucks, ha ha ha, let's drink beer, versus the media who's actually attacking. What was his name? Miguel Herrera, our previous manager, who got a fight with a reporter in the airport because they attacked his sister or something. Like they verbally assaulted his sister, so he defended his sister. Like got in between the reporter and his sister and punched the guy out, which I was like, I am all for that. And instead of supporting him, the federation fired him. Yeah. That's how you support your national team, by siding with the media. The media are like you ever watch ESPN's Mexico coverage? There's a guy named Faitelson. I forgot his name. He's just like, if I ever met him in real life, I think I would stab him in the throat.
Herculez Gomez does that a lot, doesn't he? The Mexican coverage.
It's just horrible. It's horrible. Like all they do, like if you win 1-0, like how could you only win 1-0?
Yeah.
If you win 5-0, like you could have won by 7. Like there's just no pleasing them, no matter what happens. And they'll have former players, Mexican team players, that are like, no, this is really good. But the guys that don't know anything about football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, the guys that don't know anything, just punditry.
Okay, so they have high expectations and they're overly critical. Do you think your World Cup run was a success?
No.
So,
but I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it was him. I think the players, he put out a team, beat Germany. It worked out really well. Put out a team, you beat South Korea. That worked really well. Then you put out a team and you can't beat Sweden. That's the process.
It's a game you had a good tournament there, but it's a game you needed to win
or tie. No, just tie.
Well,
that's all we
needed a result so that you didn't have to go and play Brazil.
But even so, we could have beat Brazil. Like Brazil weren't that great. Like, we could have beaten them. Not the point. Like, the process has worked since he got hired. The process has worked the entire time, with the one exception being the Chile game.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the process has worked. Now you're telling me that you have a bad game against Sweden and it's the manager's fault? Like, everyone was like, "Oh my God,
He's
we
such a
believe
good
in
coach,
him.
right?
We believe in him. Like, we were wrong about him. Like, you win 2 games.
But
We were wrong about
I think we're Monday morning quarterbacking. A lot of people are now because of the fact that you looked at that Germany win and off the first game, you're like, wow, Mexico, Osorio's got them playing. They're great. They just went and beat Germany. And then you see over the course of the tournament, the German team wasn't good.
Right. But we
And
still...
so was it really that good of a tournament? Did he have that good of a tournament? Did he beat a bad Germany? And did you beat a bad South Korea who aren't really that great?
No, but I mean, you still beat them. Like, it doesn't matter. You still won the games you needed to win, other than the one. But my point is, like, it's not just looking at the tournament itself. It's looking at his entire tenure as manager, and he did a phenomenal job. That's not a question. His record proves that he knew what he was doing. When anyone else, my grandpa, like, all the time, like,
You know who's the best record for the United States men's national team?
Arena.
Bruce Arena.
Yeah.
How did he do getting us through qualifying?
That was a different time. Like, he was a manager for a different time. But this guy, like...
I get that.
No, he took us through...
I just wanted to inflict some self-pain.
That's funny. But my grandpa's always ranting about Osorio. He's such a bad manager. Osorio out. I'm like, no. Like, you have to look at the results. He's gotten us the results.
Yeah.
Like, when nobody else has gotten us results. And I think it's a shame that he's gone. I think it's a shame that the Mexican fan base and media attacked him to the point where he wanted to leave. Whereas the players wanted him to stay.
I think
and I think that says
taking
everything.
that job, though. I think everybody knows taking that job, that just the amount of pressure and that you're not going to last long. Like, I think everybody wants to take it to prove that they can do it, but that's a hard job to take. If someone came to you and said, take that job, and you have that media and you have that fan base breathing down your neck.
I think it's crappy, though, because, like, the Federation had his back, the players had his back. As a fan, you should be like, oh, if the players like him and the Federation like him, then maybe there's something I don't know. But I think we, as Mexican fans, there's too much passion, not enough knowledge.
I think that's fair. I think that's a really good point. I think that leads us to this international break, and why I'm so excited for this one is because I looked at the Mexican national team roster, and I know what the U.S. roster is, and they're young teams.
Yeah, they're both very young teams.
I'm very excited to see youth, like up-and-comers, go up against up-and-comers.
Yeah.
I think the Brazil game, we'll see what happens. I thought France was going to spank us before the tune-up. We ended up tying them. I think we have good players right now. I think we have our best young players we've ever had. But I think the Mexico-U.S. game is going to be really fun because it's not Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey and Rafa Marquez and, who else is on the Mexican team that, was a part of that group that, like, hated each other.
Yeah.
Just hated each other. And I'm excited to see how these two teams match up against each other now. Because we had some really, really good games for a couple of years there because those teams just did not like each other.
Right. New generation, new attitude, I think.
Right. But that's what I'm excited. That's something that really excites me because, of course, we have this rivalry now. And, it's something we didn't have years ago because we didn't know each other. But now that we do, and we get to grow it as our young kids are going to get to grow it against each other. And I think it'll be really fun. Because, to be honest with you, I don't care what these two results come out to be. But the Mexico-U.S. one, it'll be fun to see just if there is that normal tension just because each team knows who they're playing.
Right. Or if it's going to be brand new because the players they're not used to playing. So I had that same thing. Like, back when I was younger, I hated the U.S. team. Like, I wanted them to lose.
No, I hated Mexico
no
so
matter
bad
what.
that you had no idea.
Like, but the players that you have now, I don't hate them.
Not yet.
No, because nobody's like, no, we haven't. They don't fight, and that's the thing. Like, I think it was just like the perfect storm of Mexican players that had that attitude and the U.S. players that had that attitude, and we weren't used to losing.
Mm-hmm. And it was our first time actually competing.
Right,
for
and
a
we
while.
finally felt a little pressure, and we didn't know how to handle it.
Well, that's what, and I think our two new generations, I think they're very equal in footing right now with the talent that's coming up, and then the talent that's also abroad. I think Lozano is very similar to Pulisic.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be. I mean, is Lozano in the camp? I can't remember.
Yeah, he's the star name.
And that's what Pulisic would have been if he hadn't been injured. So,
Right.
but it's gonna be cool seeing those two go against each other now. And then for me, one of the most exciting things and painful things is Jonathan Gonzalez, who was a U.S. international and filed his one-time switch for the Mexico team. He's in this camp. If he starts against the U.S., I want to see him versus Tyler Adams. I
Yeah.
want to see him versus Weston McKennie.
Yeah.
Like, these are battles, like one-on-one battles that are just exciting to me.
And I think for him specifically, if he plays, I think there's gonna be a lot of pressure on him.
Oh, I think a lot.
Like more than I would want. Like
And like, I'm not one of the people that hate him, because I understand that people can have two identities. I understand people that can identify with two different nations or more sometimes. I understand that's something. I know some people don't like that. I don't know how you feel on it, that having two different. Because I mean, I think some players really are torn between playing for where they grew up or where their parents grew up.
okay, that's fair. I think that plays in a part, especially with our like identity culture that we have now.
Right.
But to me, I would be a lot more practical. Like, what team do I have a better chance of playing?
But that goes against that's
No.
That's,
and that's why it was like
that's
no
why
offense.
it's such a heated thing, though,
Right.
is because shouldn't the national team not be where you're playing, but where you're passionate about?
I think for players, like I think a lot of times they'll pick, like you have those back in the
I mean,
German Americans, like, and they would pick the U.S. because
Yeah.
they know they're gonna get into the team, and they know
And,
they're never
and
gonna get into the
that's a
German.
contentious issue too.
I mean, I don't fault them for that. They want to play international. They want to play,
Yeah.
and as long as they give 100%, who really cares? Like I prefer Germany in my heart,
so
but
then Jonathan Gonzalez chose the exact opposite, though, because
Yeah,
you would think the Mexico team is harder to get into than the U.S. team.
But then maybe he went with his heart instead of his head. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't care. Like, if he had chosen the U.S., I would have been like, it's because he wants more game time. But
Yeah.
he chose Mexico. I'm like, okay, great. If he's really as good as they say he is, and he gets on the team, I'm glad. But honestly, I think, like, this whole identity thing, I think, is just blown out of proportion. Like, when Herculez Gomez, he could have played for Mexico, but
Yeah.
he chose the U.S. Like, I didn't hate him for it.
Yeah.
Like, you
No, and that's what I'm saying. I don't hate him. I think people just. I don't think it's a black or white answer with the identity thing, and I think that's why people get so heated, because they think it should be a black and white answer, but it's really not. I mean, for you, where did you grow up?
I grew up here,
You grew up here. Where did your parents grow up?
Mexico.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, but was he?
you follow the Mexican team,
But
though,
was he
not
born
the
in
U.S.
Mexico?
team.
Was he born in Mexico? Because I was, and I think that might be a different thing.
But my fiance was born in Brazil, but she was born here in Massachusetts, then went to Brazil when she was for like 3 years, and she came back here. What is her identity? I mean, she considers herself the American, but I mean, is it where you're born? Is it where you grew
I think
up?
it's where
Is
you-
it? It's a
Because
tough
nationality-
question. It's not
well-
a black or white.
Well, nationality and culture are different also. Because a lot of these German guys that were born in Germany, but their parents were like U.S. servicemen and women.
They were born on the base.
Yeah. So yeah, technically I was born in Germany, but we're American. That's how it. That's how it is.
I think it's
Like-
an interesting discussion, and I don't fault him, but I want to see him start that game, and I'm a huge Tyler Adams fan. Everybody knows that. I want those two guys to go up against each other. I want them to push each other. I want them to get in each other's faces. I don't need to see fighting or anybody peeing on the ground or anything.
Right. Nobody wants that's that, and that's why I don't like. I like this new rivalry because it's an actual on the field rivalry. It's not like a
Right.
I hate you.
I
Rivalry.
think the talent level is closer than it's ever been. I think right now, and I think it'll be very, very interesting to see.
Actually, to be honest with you, I think your youth program, your youth players, are in a better spot than ours. Like I honestly do. Like because I look at the German league and it's just full of young
Just so
Americans.
many.
And like I look at like where are we? Not as much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
Like I think our A teams, ours is better. Like I don't think that's a question, but I think
I don't
your
think
youth.
we don't have an A team anymore. Our A team is our youth.
Yeah, but that's what I'm like. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
But you are like if you're taking 24 and under,
Right.
I think you guys have a huge advantage.
And I think that's the first time ever, and I think this is going to be a very exciting cycle. I think last cycle was the worst thing that could possibly happen, but I think we have the best potential squad I think that we've ever had.
Yeah.
and it's potential that's not just potential anymore. It's potential that's showing up on the field. Tyler Adams is 19 and playing for Red Bull every single game, and he's one of the best players on the team. Christian Pulisic is playing every single game for Dortmund, and he's their only attacking player. Weston McKennie starts every game for Schalke. Some games he starts right back, some games he starts in midfield, but he's starting every game, and he's 19 years old. Josh Sargent is 18 years old, maybe 19 now, for the Werder Bremen U23s, but he has 4 goals in 5 games for the U23 program. He's not going to be there long.
No.
You don't score that many goals, and it's very exciting, and I think that's what I'm most excited for is to start this new cycle and have the last one be done. I'm over it. Whatever. Let's move on. But to see how the Mexico and the U.S. team stack up against each other and just how they interact now is going to be very interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any bad blood. I don't see it. But I think it's going to be an interesting watch for sure. Is your boy CCV, Cameron Carter-Vickers?
Mm-hmm. I think he's on the roster, isn't he?
He's terrible.
I don't rate him very high.
He's awful.
I think he's going to start this game. I think he's going to start against Brazil. I don't know if he'll start. I don't think he's going to start against Mexico. I don't rate him. I don't. I used to think he was very good, and then actually watched him.
Tottenham,
right?
For example,
for Tottenham or for Swansea or not Swansea, Swindon Town.
I watched him in this preseason.
He's still so young for a defender, though. He's 19, 20 years old. For a defender, that's... you don't get into your prime until you're a defender until you're 26,
True.
right? So, he's got 6 years to figure it out, but, I don't think he's our top 4 or 5 best defenders we have right now, so...
Yeah. I don't know.
But he's there.
Like I said, I hadn't been following Mexico so much, but I'm definitely watching tonight. I forget who we play tonight.
What time is your game?
9:30.
9:30. Yours is it's probably ours and then goes into yours because I think we're 7:30.
Okay.
So it probably goes us and then you.
Yeah. I don't know.
We have Brazil tonight.
Yeah. I think we have. I think we also have a South America. I think it might be Paraguay. I don't think it's Paraguay. I think it's Uruguay.
That would be interesting if it was Paraguay.
Yeah, it would be.
It's not Paraguay.
It's
You would know.
We would know, but I don't remember who it is. But anyway, as with everyone else, the new cycle starts now.
You were very close. It's Uruguay.
Yeah, one of the Guays.
Yeah, one of the Guays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
the new cycle starts now. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Well, any closing remarks?
I think we had a lot to say because we haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah.
And I think this is good. I think we're going to get back to doing this
For sure.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing you again.
You too, man.
It's nice doing this.
This is one of the things I miss. Like, talking soccer, there's nobody to talk soccer with over there. There's some people that are just, like, they liked it, but they didn't know it.
Right.
And it's different. It's different now, so I like it.
I like it too. Let's do this again.
Let's.
What do you guys think? Let us know.
All right. Well, so I'm Caleb.
And I'm Anthony.
And we are
The Rivals.